Jabbar. The group 3 only 3%, yes. Group 3. Haysam, Ali, and Amine. Group 4. Zainab Khalid, Rughayya Saadun, Ghadi Hadi. Qualification of blah blah blah. Group 5. Fatima Maktuf, Emad Abdul Kazim, Zainab Fazil, Amina Jabbar, Raja Kazim. HSC in construction. Group 6. Sabah Mehdi, Haydar Ibrahim, Naba Hatem, Sama Ali. BOT contract. Group 7. Sina Ali, Murtaza Jabir, Afani Abdul Karim, Ali Mohsen, Hinsan, Abdi Yasin. Claim management. Group 8. Shata Qasim, Ali Mahdi, Ibtihal Karim, Fadil Kamil, Tabarak Abdul Qadir. Group 9. Sargam Haydar, Ala Ibrahim, Asil Ahmad, Rania Talib, Mustafa Muhammad, Zainab Aziz. And we said this person select buyback, but it's same to group 2. You should change your title. Group 9, please change your title because the buyback is title repetition. Group 10. Zia Mohsen, Raid Abdullah, Maho Abbas, Sahar Saad, Anwar Muhammad. Evaluation of delay. Evaluation of delay, I think, is repeat title. You should change it. Group 10. Group 11. Ali Kambahr, Sana Ghazi, Khaz Mazin, Sari Talib, Amal Abdul Kazim. You should give me the title. Group 12. Muhammad Mehdi, Uday Sahib, Sajjad Abdul Hassan, Shahla Muhammad Hussein, Fatima Abbas. Please give me the title. Group 13. Saad Khalkhan, Hind Abbas, Haydar Tahir, Mirva Abdul Amir, Maha Abbas, Hussein Muhyiddin. Please give me the title. Group 14. Ali Ahmed, Ali Habib, Hussein Kahil, Salvan Hussein, Yahya Abdul Wahab. Selected Quality Management and Construction as a title. Uday Ali, Ahad Hamid, Amin Taha, Zainab Abdul Majid, Asra Adil, Batul Neme. Please give me the title. And Group 16. Haydar Musleh, Saleh Majhul, Abdul Salam Jarvi, Baha Khairi. Selected the HSE, but this is the repetition title. Please change it. Group 11, the title is okay. Group 11. Group 11, there is no title. Please give me the title. Group 8, Group 11, group 12, group 13, group 14, group 16. Please give me the title. And group 9 and group 10 selected the reputation title. Please change it. Mr. Talib said don't have a group. You should make a group with your friends, Mr. Talib, because all students should speak about their friends and make a group. Claim management construction group. Group claim management. I should no. Claim management selected before by group 7. Do you have a list of new title? I sent it to you before. Okay, after the class I send it the new title in WhatsApp and you can select it. Okay. Mr. Talib said, please add me to group 1. I add you to group 1. Sina Fali, Murtaza Jaber, Afan Abdul Karim Ali Mohsen, Haysam Abdul Yasir. Yes. Mr. Sina, this is the group, yes, 7 and claim management. That's okay. And the calendar is 3821. Okay, that's okay. No, that's Mr. Sina, please change the calendar because group 6 want to present in 3821. You should change it. Because I have no group, group 15 qualification of group 15 qualification of consulting. Group 4 روی سعدون علی غالی زینب خالد وهاب Miss Rovariye, you add 2% in your group, Wahab Ali and Hamid Ali, or 1%? This is 1% or 2%? I don't know. Isar, Wahab, Hamid Ali, okay. I add it. Isar, Wahab. Number 5, Wahil, Hamid Ali, okay. That's okay. Group 8, EPC contract, Group 8. Group 8. Okay, no problem. EPC. 6%. Rana Obaid. Rana Obaid is okay. Rana Obaid. Tabarak Abdul Fordin Falan Ali Mahdi. Okay, that's okay. Group 15 choose the title no to is that. Group 15. Okay. We speak about that in the WhatsApp. Okay. This time is for presentation. Group which group want to presentation? Mr. Nabil, okay. I give it to you for access for presentation. Mr. Nabil. Mr. Nabil, okay. You have access to presentation and turn on your microphone and turn on the webcam and you can start.
اگه به شارژش پر نشده؟
نه تو دوازده یاد مونده پوچ خیلی حالی که همون خوبه
من هر خواستی بزن
نش دستم Mr. Taleb, please speak with your friends and you can add to some group. Before you should speak with your friends in other groups. And you can make a new group with other friends that they don't have group. I don't know which group is related to you, not related to me. You should speak about your friends. Okay, no problem. Okay, you can repeat that topic, but it's so important. The slide, it should be separated. If I see the slide same as another group, I cannot evaluate you. Understand? If your title is repeated, I give it to you, Mr. Nabil. I gave it to you. The presentation, access, and microphone access. You can start it. You can upload your slides, turn on your microphone, turn on the webcam. You can. You should click on the microphone button. Okay, no problem. If you select the repetition title, is okay. But the slide should be different with other groups. Understand? Okay, group 9, buyback in construction is okay. Group 10, evaluation of delay is okay. Group 16, HSE is okay, but the slide should be different. Okay, no problem. The new title after the class. Mr. Nabil, where are you? You should start it. Miss Sana, no problem. If you complete the seminar, you can present it. But your slide should be different with another group. Understand? Okay. Mr. Nabil, where are you? If you cannot present your seminar, other group can start the presentation. I think group 2, yes, Mr. Basim? Mr. Nabil said I'm here, but I cannot see you. Okay. If you promise the presentation is different, that's okay. Mr. Basim, Mr. Basim, do you ready to start the presentation? Mr. Nabil, I don't hear you because you didn't turn on your microphone. I change the access for presentation to Mr. Basim for new group to presentation. Mr. Nabi, you should try to solve the problem. Okay, Mr. Basim. Mr. Basim Ahmed. I give to you access for presentation, and you can turn on your microphone, webcam. 9 can work in buyback. That's okay. But as I said before, your slide should be different with other group. The group 2. Group 2 now want to present the buyback contract in construction, and you should prepare the slide different with this group.
Good morning, Victor.
Good morning.
Hear me?
Yes, yes.
Good morning, Victor. Morning, my friends.
Please upload your
Okay, Doctor.
slides. Turn on the webcam because I want to see you. Mr. Talib said, add me to group 10. Group 10.
Victor.
Please wait because I cannot see that.
Open now, Doctor. Upload.
No, now I cannot see that. You should wait. Group 10. Group 10. Okay.
Okay,
I
Doctor.
can yes, I can see that.
Begin, Doctor.
Could you please turn on the webcam? Because I want to see you. Is it possible?
Please again, Doctor.
No. Please turn on the webcam. Webcam.
I can't now, Doctor. I don't address.
Okay, please start. Please start.
Okay, Doctor. We group 2 take title buyback contract in oil and gas projects. For student group دانجو باسم أحمد ياسين خانم أماني عكار إنزار خانم نور عبد الرزاق عبد الحسين أخاي عادل شاع خضر أخاي حيدر فالح حسن. Abstract. Through the research, we will present the energy shortage and financial system of oil and natural gas for a number of oil natural gas producing countries that have adopted the surface contract differently or have shown interest in this framework as an alternative to production sharing contracts over the period from 1990 to 2017. In particular, we also bring up the difference in each country's service contract and examine how these different in service contracts differ from each other service. Service contract is a long-term contractual framework that some use. Cost government to gain the expressed and capital of international oil companies without them having to hand over the rights to the field and production cuisine. Countries resort to such contract for several reasons, including the lack of technical possibility to develop these fields, and that is for political and international reasons. Suggest or review that new interest in service contract can be explained in part by raising concerns about sovereignty and the political environment on the one hand, and the need for oil companies' capital and know-how in developing oil and natural gas fields in host countries. On this other, in our review, we also explore some of the disadvantages to service contracts, including the potential for economical efficiency outcome. In addition, we raise problems that help highlight of possible improving service contracts. Production. In recent years, some oil and natural gas producing countries have shown more interest in adopting the rotation of service type contracts rather than the traditional production sharing contracts in their oil and natural gas development and exploration projects. A service contract is a long-term contractual framework that governs the relation between a host government and international oil companies. We take IOC, International Oil Companies, in which the IOC develop or explore oil or natural gas fields on behalf of host government in return for predetermined fees without handing over the control of extracted or subsoil or subsurface resources to the IOC in most cases. The move towards surface contracts remains of a similar transition towards production sharing contracts away from concessionary system starting 1966 in Indonesia, while opposition against international oil companies control over the world's oil price and sovereignty issues over natural resources might have been the main driving factor behind the adopting of production sharing contracts. In the 1960s, it seems that the new interest in surface contract might be explained partly by higher sovereignty concern on one hand, and the need for international oil companies' capital and know-how in develop or oil and natural gas fields in the host countries on the other. In other words, many of the major oil production OPEC and non-OPEC countries have found surface contracts a way to address sovereignty concerns. Which is mostly reflected in these countries' constitution, petroleum laws and regulation, and the need for capital and express capitalism of IOC as argued by for the case of Iran. Also, surface contracts can help in sovereign host government control over the oil and natural gas resources. Such contracts might lead to economical inflation, profit maximization perspective. If we also assume that IOC in general do not consider service type contract as their first choice in their business models. A strong case can be made for host government to consider and increase the efficiency of their operation by either improving the contractor design of their service contracts or adopting other contractual frameworks. Contract and contractual arrangement play important roles in international oil cooperation. It affects the willing of international oil companies to invest this oil products capacity, as well as the rate of economic development of oil fields. All affect the oil defense host government can obtain this the way to your founded upstream activities have become a major countries attempted to continue to develop their petroleum sectors and economies. According to Johan 2003, petroleum financial system can be divided in two types based on allocation of oil ownership, royalty tax concession system, and contract system. The latter divided to service contract and production sharing contracts, PCS. Moreover, initial service contracts consist of barely service contracts and risk service contracts in terms of the risk distribution among them of the host government and the international oil companies, IOC. Unlike door service contracts in which IOC receive only fixed fuel. IOC profit depending oil revenue under risk service contracts. Buyback is a special type of risk service contract under which IOC are reimbursed by allocation and the percentage of oil for service related. Below we focus on the compensation of BCAC and reparations contracts. IOC participation in various operation in the primarily oil industry under private oil projects contracts and buyback contracts. Provide security companies BSC allow IOC to practical in all exploration and production. Under the buyback term, the IOC are obligated to hand over the oil fields to the host government when production begins. From this perspective, the choice between private purchase contract and repurchase contracts is equivalent to a problem of whether the host government should contract the entire process or only part of it.
Mr. Basil,
Of the according to
can
our,
you hear me?
yes, doctor, but not clear.
You should separate the slide for all students in your group, and all students should be presented. Do you know?
Yes,
Okay. No problem.
yes. Group my group in course term course 2. See all slides.
Okay. I said you all the students should be present. You should separate and divide the presentation in, for example, 5 parts and all.
Okay, doctor. Divide.
Okay, okay, continue.
Okay, doctor. In this introduction, we can go to review students. Can my friend rewrite this information to increase marks? Okay. The relative overall of contracts in the horse charts is comparison with buyback service contract. P1, service, various production sharing contracts. Table 1, summarization sum of the difference between the 3 petroleum potential systems. For instance, a production sharing contract and service contract. Air service contracts are compared to production sharing contracts, and service contracts similar to production sharing agreement, which is the closed legal framework. The IOC brings in the technology and invest capital up front. However, like production sharing contracts, in a service contract, IOC agree to predetermined return rather than share the oil profit. In addition to the IOC compensation method, service contract and production sharing contracts can also differ in 4 other main categories: field equity, grade oil equity, field operation, and the degree of risk each side takes. These differences are summarized in Table 1. One of the main factors driving mining contracts countries adopting of the different service contracts is their concert to mention of sovereignty over their natural resource. Under the service contract, the countries retain ownership of the fields and the most cases products. The right to the credit oil as well and do not have to allocate it in the foreign company. Countries are interested in the adopting service contract because service contract enable them to relinquish less control over the fields and create oil products to foreign oil companies while still using the express of these companies with production sharing contract. Sovereignty concerns us in the part because these contracts give decision making power to IOC in dealing with development, exploration, and operation. Look to Table 1 from 4 type oil field ownership, and this system consists the IOC control and the credit and the system consists control, but in the service contracts, a national oil company to its control make up the government, host government, more control in the field and create oil. Okay, Dr. from table and another friends.
Okay, which one?
Okay.
Which one? Which person want to continue?
Okay. Summary of service contract around the world is shown in Table 2. There are the listed countries around the world that have versed or shown interest in service contract. Each country, however, has versed into one variation of service type contract and often more than on evaluation the fact that each country uses their own include name for contracts. Contracts uses its include name for its contracts. Therefore, the contracts are not the same. Like table 2. This is from to countries, different countries. 8. We take in the search of Iran and Iraq more than. Thank you, Doctor. I am take microphone to my friend Khanum Amani Akkar.
Okay, I access to Miss Amani
Akkar.
and she can continue. Miss Amani, you can click on the microphone and allow to that to turn on, and you can start.
السلام عليكم.
Assalamu alaikum. Continue.
Can Mr. Bassem take me a slab or no? Yes, thank you. Three. Surface contract measure difference. Table 3 present 5 measure. Table 3 present 5 measure categories in which the surface contract in Iran and Iraq and in Venezuela's 3 actions round differ from each other. The capital cost decision interaction between the IOC and NOC, the allocation of the ownership rate of the product guard, the allocation of the developed field operation product guard, the allocation of the developed field operatorship rate, elimination, and how risk is shared between the IOC and NOC, with required to the IOC NOC capital cost decision interaction. Iran is different from the other 2 countries' surface type contracts due to the IOC's limited option acquired the capital cost ceiling once the contract in size. That is because in most Iran's payback surface contracts, IOCs do not have the option to change the capital cost level after they sign the contract, and which limitation could increase the IOC's risk in this contract. In case of Iraq, the capital cost decision interaction could be number 1, issue sign the Iraqi government made find it too costly to achieve the production plateau target. As a result, they may limit the IOC's capital expansion. In doing that, the Iraqi government increased the economic efficiency. In Venezuela's third round service contract, the IOCs are entitled to a protect of the product curve that in one unique feature of the Venezuela's third round contract. Since in the other service contract, the state owned ownership on the product curve from the operation rates of the developed with Iranian holds the rate from the it is one state one substrate. This is table 3. From 3 countries, Iran and Iraq and Venezuela's 3 options. Now, 4. Venezuela's service contract. Venezuela's trade an interesting and complicated service type contractual approach between 1991 and 1997 with the 3 rounds of action of operational service agreements on field. During this same time period, Venezuela also approached 2 other contractual for more jobs. The interest and risk exploration agreement. In the first 2 rounds of the operational service agreement, the IOC's requirement included the internal investment flows, interest, capital fee, and additional per barrel production operation fee to cover the IOC's operation cost and proof without sharing the profit oil. The payment to the IOCs were in cost and were in cost and profit without sharing in the payment to the IOCs were in US dollars to guard up against any exchange rate risk and were adjusted to the US Energy CPI. The third round operation service agreement were different since the IOCs were entitled to the portion of the product worth there and sliding mechanism based on the project's internal rate of return in each year and an increment value and on the production, which is the market value of the product curve of the same year means that year's capital cost, royalty, and administration fees.
Thank you, Mrs. Amani.
Thank you, Dr.
Continue.
Yes.
Okay, continue.
Kuwait service contract. Kuwait service contract since the early 1990s, Kuwait has shown interest in 3 different forms of service contracts. The term service contract was used for Breed's Virgin, which include 5 contracts with PP, Sharon, Shell, Exxon, and Total. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, the Kuwait Ministry of Energy and their Kuwait Petroleum Company attended another initiative as the Kuwait project in order to open upstream in Kuwait to international oil company further. However, the attempted face a long-standing option for Kuwait Supreme Petroleum Council and the National Assembly. The option was based on Kuwait construction resolution on virgin control of Kuwait natural resource, include crude oil. In 1999, the Kuwait government introduced a new change in the type of service contracts known as operating service contracts, under which the government can control over ownership on crude oil in accordance with constitution provision. Iranian buyback service 3.6 surpassing 3. Iranian buyback service contract. Iranian signed in first buyback service contract in 6 March 1995 with Conco Oil, and several other service contracts followed. While all Iranian service contracts are called a buyback service contract, their framework represents at least 3 generations of service contracts in the country. In 2009, the National Iranian Oil Company signed a buyback service contract with the China Sinopec International Petroleum (E&P) Corporation, whereby Sinopec is allowed to make a final decision on the level of capital cost for up to 2 years after the contract. This is third type of buyback service contract in Iran. Between 2005 and 2013, Iran production potential fell dramatically from 4.2 to 2.6 million barrels per day, due to sanctions on the oil financial embargo imposed by the United States and the European Union. However, along with recent and ongoing efforts to ease the relation with the West, the new Iranian administration also trying to bring international oil company back in the country with Roscat framework that more attractive than buybacks contract. Now we continue with Mr. Adil. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Adil, can continue. I access to you for turn on the microphone. Mr. Adil, please click the microphone button and allow that to turn on. microphone is there. Turn. You can speak.
Yes, thank you very much, Doctor. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam alaikum. Continue.
Mexico multiple surface contract. Mexico announced the adoption of its first version service contract. Now is multiple service contract. In 2001, at the time, these contracts were from no associated natural gas development project only. Until then, the state-owned DMX has relied heavily on oil field service contracts with similar work scopes in return for fixed surface payment as the only firm was authorized for foreign capital and experience. However, in multiple service contract payments, award multiple service combined in single long-term firm work in international oil companies. In general, the decision to adopt the multiple service contract framework was taken as a way to invite foreign and private investment in the natural gas upstream sector, while also accounting for the country's concentration, exploration, and production register. The natural gas sector was chosen for 3 reasons. First, limited and the financial resources had been consistent on keeping the country oil production. Number 2, Bolivia surface operation contract. With the second largest natural gas service in the South America, adopted operation contracts as variation of the surface type contractual framework following the 2004-2006 renationalization of countries' oil and natural gas sector. The renationalization of the state-owned oil and natural gas company YPFB, as well as the forced conversion of all 44 contracts to the service type contractual framework, were part of the major policy shift toward more state control over the hydrocarbon resource in Bolivia until then, and starting in 1999. Bolivia and a series of the policy modification with objective of opening up the hydrocarbon sector. Thank you very much. Can give mic for my friend student, Mr. Haida.
Okay. Mr. Haidar, please turn on your microphone. I access to you before. Mr. Haidar. Mr. Haidar Faleh. Please click to the microphone button and allow this to turn on. We are waiting for you. You use two devices. I access to you or turn on your microphone. You can ask for your friends and let me to how can you turn on the microphone.
Yes, Doctor. We continue with Mr. Haider to learn.
Okay, Doctor. Okay, Doctor.
Yes, hear you.
Salam, Doctor.
Assalamu alaikum. Continue.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Ecuador surface contracts. Ecuador is another South America country with recent move from production. Sharing contracts toward service type contracts. The move toward service type contracts as part of bold policy shift by the Ecuadorian government toward more state control over the oil sector. The other elements of such policy shift are the 19% windfall tax on IOCS and the joint venture cooperation framework proposal between Ecuador state-owned oil company, Petrol Ecuador, and the country's state-owned oil companies for the new exploration and the production. The process of the IOCS to accept the transformation of their contracts to service contracts. Start in 2007 and by 2010, 8 service contracts were signed and the new service contract framework, the IOCS cost recovery is based on agreed open flat fee, and the government take are 18.5% to 19% of the oil field revenue. In February 2012, a joint venture of 4 companies, including such Lumberger Ltd and Canadian Canal NLG Ltd, signed an incremental production contract as a new version of service contract on 2 mature fields in Ecuador. The main scope of the contracts to increase the production of the 2 fields in Richard for US $39.56 per each additional barrel of production crude. The contracts called also enjoy other benefit, including a 50-50% split of the gain from operation cost reduction based the per barrel. Remember, in December 2012, the Ecuador administration started licensing process of 6 exploration block under the General Service Contracts framework. introduced in 2010. Among the 16 block, forging company could be bid on 30 blocks, and three blocks were received for the state-owned oil company. Amazon's EP by December 2013 forging company intends bid on 3 of the 13 block. The Amazon's backed consortium of surface national oil companies also bid on one of the 3 receiver blocks, which brought the total bid offer to 4 out of 16 offered blocks. In addition, Amazon EP is the process of the offering integrated specific service contracts on 16 natural fields, with early service contracts that Ecuador had signed in 2012. Turkmenistan service contracts. Turkmenistan is another country showing recent interest in serving type contracts. Based on the country 2008 hydrocarbon law, the government has 4 contractual option: concession, reduction, sharing contracts, or oil field service contract, and service contracts. However, for it is offshore natural gas field, the Turkmenistan government has released open production sharing contracts and service contracts as the 2 preferred method of cooperation with foreign companies. For the onshore natural gas field, the government has shown indication of preferring the risk service contracts as version as service type contracts with adequate reward for the risk taken by the IOCS. However, no such contracts have been signed due to the IOCS justification with the term of Turkmenistan risk service contractual framework. The prospect of any service contracts Turkmenistan on onshore gas field are far prospect. Okay, sir?
Yes, it's finished.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay.
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 Sorry, Doctor. We will continue with Mr. Basim, please.
Okay.
5 minutes.
Okay. No problem. Mr. Basim, continue.
Yes, Victor, I'm hear you. Service contract in Iraq. Iraq has also adopted variation of service contract, all known as technical service contract, in its mega plan to increase oil production to 12 million barrels per day, as table 4 includes a summary of the 4 rounds of actions. Iraq uses a three version of technical service contract: production of field, technical service contracts, technical service contracts for production and development, and the framework of the type of service to explore in the fourth round. As we will discuss in more detail at the end of the chapter, field technical service production contracts were awarded on the fields with production prior to the start of the contract. This base production was used to recover the cost of development in these fields in production and development technical service contracts. The different cost recovery mechanism is used as these contracts were awarded in fields that were not protected before the contracts begin. For more information on technical service contracts in Iraq, see reference 11 and 48. Table 4, share to contract in Iraq. Can you see that? Outline of buyback contract. In the buyback mode, IOC are obligated to relocate the operator along with the service infrastructure of the host government when the oil begins production. The investment is repaid from oil revenues. And describe the cost recovery mechanism under buyback contracts. Refer to Iranian buyback contracts containing 4 main components: capital expenditure and investment, reimbursement, payment of bank charge on this basis of labor in addition to remuneration and reward for the efforts of the IOC, and the agreed upon inter rate of return of the IOC, all sequential payment of the OM to education and host operating and maintenance cost track the government's share of total oil revenues. It is defined as percentage of share under the repurchase contract. After that, the oil speed can be reverted for IOC under buyback contract.
Thank you, Mr. Bassel.
Thank you, Doctor. Let mic to my president, Mr. Noor.
Okay, continue.
Effect of buyback contracts on the right and obligation of the contractor. Contractor's right and obligation. Impact of buyback contract on contractor rights. Reserving remuneration, cost compensation, investment benefit, suitable reward, security right on of the right that each investor. The impact of buyback contract on contractor obligation, observing the employer contract rules, observing international standards, using the internal forced training and transfer technology and geometry evidency, initial supply of the project, tax commitment and work obligated, establishing a representative of office in the player country, keeping according reports, offer reports to employer, completing tax return and tax acknowledgement, responsibly in insertions. Sir, there a lot of information about this point in the research. The time can't to read it, all of it. Continue with Mrs. Amani.
Thank you. 4.2 Impact of payback contract on employer rates and consummate. Impact of payback contract of employer rates. Number 1, official rate. Number 2, rate of consummate performing. Number 3, rate of asking for damage compensation. Number 4, non-official rates. Number 5, inspection and supervision rate. Number 6, rate of insurance governors selection. Number 7, rate of supervising employer training. Impact of payback contract employer obligation. Number 1, official obligation. Number 2, non-official consummate. Number 5, drafting contract of project to develop oil field in Iraq. In order to understand the dangerous story of the new law in Iraq, and to give a broad description of the ways in which oil fields can be developed in general. This method can be divided into the 3 types, and within these types there are different fronts, which we will address without going into the details. Number 1, the naturalized industry. A, contract service risk, and B, contract payback and development and product contract. Number 2, concession, and number 3, agreement sharing product. Now we continue with Mr. Adil. Mr. Adil, please.
Sir Adil, please continue. Access to you again.
Excuse me, Doctor. Mr. Adil have a problem. Can
No.
Okay.
Mr. Adil can continue. Okay.
discussion and conclusion. Through the previous service contract, including buyback contract and covering with the share contract, it becomes clear that one of the main factors that drive many countries to adopt different service contracts is their interest in preserving of the sovereignty over the natural resource with the production sharing contract. Sovereignty concerns arise in part because the contract these contracts give decision-making power to IOC in dealing with development, exploration, and operation. Number two, the service contract, similar to production ship costs a legal framework. The IOC provides technology and invests capital upfront. However, unlike production sharing contracts, in service contracts, IOC agree to predetermine return whether they share the oil profits. Number three, service contract and production sharing contracts can also differ in the four other main categories: field ownership rights, crude oil ownership rights, field operation, and degree of risk each side bears. Number four, adopting dynamic policy to maximize profits as a mean to increase the economic efficiency of the service contract, as the joint recommendation suggested by two studies of two cases of service contracts in Iran and Iraq. The service contract from work experience has potential profit losses even of the host government. Number five, another source of sovereignty concern that rise from production sharing contracts is the tax law. A verse and some shown interest in the service contract to from the tax code in order to alive some. The sovereignty concern arising for production sharing. Number six, existing service contracts lack the tools and adopt dynamic profits. Number seven, in case of Iraq, IOC reward barrel of lousy liability to reach and remain at the production plateau. Number eight, in the evening, this important. In the evening, the capital cost awareness could be main source of risk for IOC. In Iranian buyback service contracts, it's as it bear on losses. This might not the case for the other types for service contracts. Conclusion from the above. Continue, Mr. Basim.
Thanks, Mr. Adel. Take that for Amani Khanum.
Doctor, please.
Okay, continue.
From the above point, we note that Iran is the most country that has worked with the payback contract, and if those inducts that the national Iranian oil company needs to make more effect to attract international oil company, as it is necessary to maintain current product level and increase the current product by 1 million barrels a day during the current to decade period, as redacted by the fourth 5 years economic. School that cultural development plan from Iran. The National Iranian Oil Company understand that it will be increasing competition from our producting countries and has gone a long way to meeting the expectation from oil company and addresses their concerns. Some of these expectations and concerns the National Iranian Oil Company cannot address alone, but they require legislative change. For example, international oil company are not entitled under the Green Lease law to conduct protection operation or be a party to a joint operation body with the natural Iranian oil company. The natural Iranian company process the following improvement to the existing reparts model from exploration and development. A gap will be calculated and determined when sub-countries are awarded by bidding and escalation clause can be agreed to deal with inflation and change in market prices from materials, equipment, and power instead on stating fees to reward IOCs. Thank you very much, Doctor, for listening with our all friends and students.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And this group presented the title about buyback contract in construction project and oil and gas project. And this is the first presentation. For other students, I should speak about the presentation. The presentation should be faster than this because you are a postgraduate student, not undergraduate. You're a postgraduate student and you should be try more and read the article from your country and another country and in the best journal. This is the first presentation, but that's okay. For other presentation, please read more and more and make a slide better than this, because all the slide in this presentation is the text, and we should use some other things about the tables, graph, picture, and so on. is better. And please divide the present 5 or 6 is related to the number of person. One person start and finish, and other person start and finish. I think it's better. And for first presentation is good, but for other person should be try more than this. For every groups that don't have title, I send to WhatsApp some new title and you can select it for seminar. Okay, for today is enough. And in next session, other group can presentation and group 4, I think. Qualification of blah blah blah. 13 of July should be ready to presentation. Okay, do you have a problem? And do you have a question?
Doctor, please, excuse me.
Yes.
Doctor, can you listen for experiment only? Next station I will try my presentation, but now I want to experiment my and other student with me in a group want to experiment your laptop and your presentation in your laptop, because it is first matter to present in this course.
Excuse me. Yes, I understand. Okay, no problem. I said before, this is the first presentation. Yes.
Okay, Doctor, thank you very much.
I speak about the other student and want to present in other session. For first presentation is okay, but for other presentation, other students should be try more. Okay, thank you so much for attending to the class and listen to presentation your friends. I will continue this issue in next session. I repeat again, this class divided to 2 classes, Monday and Tuesday. You should get to the profile and see the time of your class. Maybe some student in Monday and some student in Tuesday. Okay. See you in next session. خدا حافظ. فی امان الله. Bye.